Do you have PCOS, and not only do you want to get pregnant, but do you also want to feel healthy? If that's you, then welcome to the PCOS Fertility Health Podcast. Hi, I'm Dr. Angela Potter, an integrative PCOS fertility specialist, and I'm here to share with you the tools that you need to help your body get prepped for baby. Let's go. But in the last episode, you learned about the fertility conveyor belt. You learned what it is and some important markers to be watching out for to know if you're on the fertility conveyor belt. And today you're going to learn what you can do instead, what you can do if you're putting your foot on the brake at that point after medicated cycles and before IVF, like we talked about, and what you can do if you are saying, this doesn't feel like the right fit for me. What else is there? Well, that's what you're going to learn today, and which is why I'm so pumped to have you here with me, because even just showing up at this episode, what I know about you is that you are committed to your health, that you know that you can find the answers to put together these pieces so that not only are you set up for pregnancy, but you feel healthy. Because you want to feel healthy for yourself, for your husband, just so you feel good for the rest of your life. And you also want to have your body prepped for baby. Well, guess what? That's exactly my expertise, is to help you get there, which is why we are the perfect fit and why I love having you here with me. So welcome. And before we get into it today, I want to share some words that somebody shared about their time working with me. Here's what she says. Dr. Potter is the best. Her program is very comprehensive and helps to naturally address the underlying health conditions needed to get pregnant. She is kind and very knowledgeable and went above and beyond to answer all of my questions and concerns throughout the whole process. I would highly recommend her to anyone looking to get pregnant naturally with PCOS. Thank you so much for sharing those words. It was such a joy to work with you. You know who you are. In the last episode, you learned about that fertility conveyor belt, how it is just a step-by-step process that is only focused on your reproductive hormones and your ovaries. Well, why is that a problem? Because you're probably thinking, well, isn't that actually a good thing? Like I need to ovulate. I'm not getting any positive ovulation tests and I want to get that egg out. Yes, of course. Like that is an important goal, and I am here to support you on that. But the issue is when you're on that fertility conveyor belt, if that's medicated cycle after medicated cycle, if 5 medicated cycles don't work, then you're referred forward to IVF. If you are trying to ovulate, trying the same thing over and over again, of course it's not going to work because those medications are not addressing the underlying reason of why you aren't pregnant yet. And if you are moving through that conveyor belt of fertility care, trying medicated cycle after medicated cycle, you are on a straight path to things not working. And that's not what you want. No, you are here because you want to feel healthy and you want to get your body prepped for baby. You don't want to be wasting time doing things that don't work. Now, it's not that those medications are bad. They aren't. What's happening is that they are being used in the wrong part of the process. Because if you are being recommended medication after medication, medicated cycle after medicated cycle, and they aren't working, and your doctor is not talking to you about your gut health, is not talking to you about your nutrition, is not talking to you about your labs and explaining why each lab was done and telling you how it should be interpreted from a fertility perspective. If all of those things are just completely put to the side, not even brought up, not addressed, then there are important missing links that are keeping you stuck. And another medicated cycle is not going to do it for you. In fact, not even IVF is going to do it for you. We know that these medications and IVF, they do not have a 100% success rate. If they did, you would be pregnant by now, and you and I would not be here talking. But they don't. IVF, yes, the benefit of it is that the doctor, the scientist, can look at the embryos to see which one is viable for moving forward. That's the one benefit, which is pretty cool. But guess what? The number of women that I have talked to who have gone through the egg retrieval process and no eggs were viable to move forward. Oh my gosh, like that's heartbreaking. You've gone through this procedure that is a huge investment of your time, your sanity, your finances, and to go through that and to find out that your eggs aren't viable, that's heartbreaking. But there is another way. So, what we were talking about in the last episode is that if you're on that fertility conveyor belt, you've tried medicated cycles and you're being referred forward to IVF and you are putting the brakes on, you are saying, hold up, stop this process. How can I be being referred forward to IVF? You're telling me that my labs are fine, but I don't feel fine. So I've got to figure this all out because you're not helping me figure it out. Maybe you've gone in after your last failed medicated cycle and you sit down in your doctor's office and they look up at you and they say, "Hi, how can I help you?" And you're thinking, what? You tell me. I don't know what questions to ask here because I want to know what's going on in my body. I don't know how to even begin asking questions. Will you please guide me? I am looking for that guidance. And your doctor instead is saying, "Well, how can I help you? Do you want to try another cycle? Here's a prescription for another medicated cycle." And you're thinking, this just doesn't make any sense to me. So when you're in that place and you are looking for what else to do, guess what? You have found it. You don't have to keep looking because you have got me in your corner. I am a PCOS expert that can help you because what you need is a PCOS fertility expert's eyes on your fertility picture. You need somebody who is able to put together the PCOS pieces. You need my eyes and ears on your fertility journey to help you put together these pieces. You need my eyes on your labs to find the glaring results that are saying, yes, this is why you are having irregular cycles. Yes, this is why you are having fertility problems. And here's a plan to reverse those. Because even though your other doctor has told you that everything is fine, everything looks good on your labs, guess what? It's not. It is absolutely not. Because you are still having irregular cycles, you can't get pregnant, you aren't having ovulation tests. There is no way that everything can be fine on your labs and your body can be feeling like that. And I am in your corner to say, yes, I hear you. You are not feeling good. And it's not only annoying, but it's frustrating. And you are up crying yourself to sleep at night because you cannot figure out why you are still having irregular cycles. Because you just want to be holding your baby in your arms. And I am here to say, I hear you. And I can help you put these pieces together. I am like no other doctor that you have worked with. By the way, I work virtually with women around the country. And if you want to get started with me, you can book a free call at drangelapotter.com/PCOS. And in that call, regardless of if you work with me or not, you are going to walk away with a fertility gold mine. I am going to help you understand what is the specific missing link for your fertility. What's been keeping you stuck for all of these years? So you are going to walk away with clarity like you have not had before. And when you are working with me, you have got my eyes and ears on your entire picture. Because the fertility conveyor belt, it is hyper focused on your ovaries and your reproductive hormones. And by the way, it's to no fault of your other doctors. They just don't have the bandwidth to understand the complexities of PCOS. And with PCOS, what's so important is to understand how the whole body works together. Because I can't tell you how many times women in my practice who have gotten pregnant naturally, we have been working on a system in their body that has nothing to do with their reproductive hormones or their ovaries at first glance. I was working with somebody who had been trying to get pregnant for over a decade. And she had seen doctors, she had been given dismissive fertility advice, yet she held on to hope. She started working with me once she found me. And I looked at her labs and Oh my gosh, it was so obvious what was going on that was keeping her stuck. And I got her on a plan that addressed her thyroid, that addressed her gut health issues. Now, you wouldn't normally think about the thyroid and gut health when it comes to fertility. You might think about thyroid. Your doctor may have ordered you one or two tests that don't really look at the full picture of thyroid. But these other systems, they need to be looked at because they are impacting fertility. Your body wants to get to a place where you're having regular cycles. Your body wants to be this fertile environment for you. And it's all about putting together these PCOS pieces, and I can help you do that. I was working with somebody else who, for her, she had been trying to get pregnant for the past 5 years. And she, again, had been given dismissive fertility advice. She would go into her doctor and would not get her questions answered. She was still having irregular cycles, not ovulating. And when she started working with me, I looked through her labs. It was obvious why she wasn't ovulating. I talked about her symptoms, got much more information from her, and helped her on a plan. I walked with her every step of the way, made tweaks to her plan based on what her body was responding with. And for her, it was 6 months, and then she was able to get pregnant naturally. And she had been told that IVF was the only way to get pregnant with PCOS. It is possible to turn around your PCOS symptoms, to feel healthy while you're doing it, and to get your body prepped for baby. And I am here to help you. Today, you learned that if you are not wanting to be on the fertility conveyor belt, what to do instead. You heard some stories about women who were working with me who had been on the fertility conveyor belt prior to working with me, and how I was able to help them change their plan, change the trajectory of their fertility, and get to a place where they were able to get pregnant naturally. You learned about this other option, about what can help and why it's so important with PCOS. And you learned that as a PCOS specialist, I am here to help you when you're ready. It is possible to get regular periods and to ovulate on your own when you have PCOS. I see this all the time in my practice, and women with PCOS are getting pregnant every single day. And you could very well be next. Hold on to that as you go forward today. If you want to support this podcast, you can leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or simply share this episode with your friends. And as a reminder, the information on this podcast is just that. It's information, and it should not replace the medical advice that you are currently getting from your doctor. Thanks so much for being here.